Hey guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp of the Limp, and I'm here with the next part of the Agents of Mayhem video we've been running about their Solitaire prototype. Now, this is going to be the last one I'm going to do for a little while. Like I said, it's kind of one of those needs of the service type things. Situation changed because of the COOF and everything getting shut down, so this did get pushed back a little bit. And since I do like the game as much as I do, I decided I'd go ahead and do the Solitaire prototype, cover that, and then we're going to just do one big video series when everything's complete, everything's finally done and fleshed out. I'm thinking I'm going to break out some new Mayhem characters, get those painted up for our next video series as well, pick a new mission so you guys can see new terrain, see the finalized versions of all these Solitaire cards, all that good stuff that's going to be coming out. We're going to do one last big series with it and just however many videos it takes, because I really do like this game. I don't think it's gotten enough publicity, as much coverage as it should have gotten with as good a game as this is. And like I've said before, Academy Games really does a good job about waiting until they've got it done, they've got it done right, which is why the Solitaire prototype is taking a little while longer and why I have faith in them. They've never failed before, and even things I've dinged them on before turned out to be, my mistake. Like I dinged them on a card before. It turned out the card was plastic, not cardboard, and it was even higher quality than I gave them for. That's just me ranting, but that's what I'm saying. They're high quality. But I wanted to point out a couple more little aspects of the Solitaire components and final thoughts of where we are at the moment. Okay, so one of the things that I did like that they're trying to implement here is the counter orders, and these are the yellow ones that I had mentioned in a previous video. And the basic gist with the counter orders is it's just the AI trying to predict what you're going to do. Now, it's like I said, I don't think they're fully fleshed out. They're still playtesting the shit out of this stuff and getting it all finalized and as good as it can be. So they're in the process, but I like the thought behind that. I like the thought that they're trying to come up with an AI system that's going to not only react to what I'm doing on the board, but try to anticipate what I'm doing on the board. Maybe if I'm moving guys towards an objective, the AI is going to see, hey, he's moving guys towards the objective, and we'll flank him, or we'll go ahead and move on the objective, or whatever the case might be that the orders pushes for. I like how there's the requirements and then the not requirements. So the stuff that's bolded on the card on the left side, that pertains to the AI. The right side pertains to its target or where it's trying to go. So remember, if it's bolded, that means it has to be, and then if it's not bolded, that means it wants to be, but it doesn't have to be. It's trying to meet those conditions, but doesn't have to meet those conditions. And one of the other things that I did like about it is the fact that they did go with the mission focus. Now, that, I think, in my opinion, is a little bit of a double-edged sword, because it does add extra cards to it, and I think it removes a little bit of the, what's my word for this, generality. Because one of the things I like to do when it comes to Solitaire play for skirmish games is to create my own missions, but with the mission cards, that makes it a little more difficult. Now, you can ignore the mission cards or just come up with your own set of mission cards for the AI and not have to worry about it. But I understand why they did that, especially because they do have something like this where it's 3D terrain. People can be in multiple different situations, and then there's even vehicles that can be involved and doomsday weapons. There's so many different little things that can come into play when it comes to this type of skirmish game, that some of the missions, they're going to have to give a specific order to the AI. You need to do this at some point. Now, this first mission, you don't see that too much because the mission cards are get high, the high ground, and then actually I didn't show the previous one. Let me grab that and I'll show that to you guys real quick. Not knocking stuff over. The other one was the capture the objective, which is what they want to do. Now, let's see, special rules. If the AI captures the objective marker, remove the reference marker from this card. If there are no reference markers on this card at the beginning of the AI turn, carry out this card setup again. So basically it keeps refreshing itself. So the AI is going to continue to get the objective and like try to hold the objective. And for this first mission, that's all it is. They want this objective and they want this objective, right? That's what both sides want. So it makes sense for the AI to go after that. So you're going to see your mission cards in this type of variation where there's a setup mission card that tells you what the deal is, and then there's some other mission cards that go with it. So I see why they did it. It's not, for me, like I said, it comes down to the generality of it and just my personal quirk that I like to create my own missions like I'm doing with Conflict of Heroes over there. But that's a me thing. I understand why they do it for this game, and I think it's working for this game. Now, the AI has a whole lot of little tactics that come into play as well, and there's so many that you guys didn't even get to see just yet. Let me see if I can actually set up a couple of quick little scenarios so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. Let's say I've got a guy here, and Hollywood's the AI, right? He's facing this way, or if he's even facing this way, so he's flanked, and she can see him from down there and fire up at him. If the AI can make a dash action, right? So dash is one of the, I'll show it over here on Hollywood's thing. It's a one movement square not free action, but like anytime action. I forget what the check marks are called off the top of my head, but you see it's expensive. It's 2 action cubes. That's a yellow and a green. But during his turn for a main action, he can do a sprint and get 9 for 1 green. This is that one-off. You're going to pay a lot for it, but it could pull you out of the fire. The AI will use that. There are rules for defensive and offensive use of the dash action. So let's say this character took a shot at Hollywood, and he was going to take up to a certain amount of damage. I think it's 2 wound cubes or 3 damage, something along those lines. Then he's going to use the dash. But if he's only going to take like a single hit, then he won't take the dash. And the reverse is true, that if he can make an attack on an opponent and everything else fits and he just needs that one little movement point to get there, he will do the dash action as long as certain conditions are met. And one of those conditions is you have to roll the white die, which I like the fact that they include the die with that, because that adds that element of chance, which is something that's just crucially needed when it comes to solitaire play. You have to have the element of chance in there, so there's not predictability when it comes to the AI. It needs to act in ways that you're not always sure about. Now, when it comes to the white die and it making the dash move, it only does it on a roll of a hit. That's it. Not even an aimed hit, which this is the aimed hit, this is the hit. And when it comes to the white die, which is the weakest die, there's only one of those. So it's only a 1 in 6 chance. But anyone who's rolled a d6 knows that shit's going to come up 1 or 6 or whatever you don't want it to come up. It's going to come up that a little bit more often than you would anticipate. So I really like that they have that on there. And like I said, there are other conditions that need to be met as well. But that element of chance really does take it to the next level, because you don't know, is he going to make that extra little move so he can fire down and take out my character, whichever character it has to be. And of course, I am definitely loving the unit focus. I am interested to see how many more of these they're going to add in. I could see a few for each of the different characters. And the Solitaire card pack's going to have to include enough cards for not only the main characters in the core game, but all the expansion characters as well. Because this is where you get those special things. Like, again, I had mentioned before, Hardtack, confusing the names, with his little tele-harpoon here, it's neat that he has the unit focus fall damage. He wants to cause fall damage. And I had so much fun with that when I was playing this Solitaire the first time, when I just was playing the game just to show it off a little bit before these prototypes had been out. And one of the things I used a little hardtack here for was to hit the enemy with a harpoon and have him appear out in the open somewhere. Because if you just jump off yourself, you're fine. You're not going to take damage. But if it's the uncontrolled fall, then you could end up taking a lot of damage. And I think I took out a unit or two. by using that teleharpoon. I really enjoyed that. So I like the fact that they've got unit focus cards for each of the characters. So they're going to try to do their special stuff. Whatever their special stuff is, they're going to attempt to try to do that as the course of the game goes. And remember, that's going to be on these order cards, just like the mission focus. Again, you see it right here, unit focus. So it will try to do that if it can. So yeah, my short answer right now is I very much like the direction that they're going in as far as an AI for this game. I love the fact that they are including an AI, well, including as in it's an expansion, so it's available to get if you do want it. I love that aspect of it because I don't get to play, and especially since the Coof came out, I don't get to play at all because the wife does not play games like this. Although my little boy's getting older, so he is starting to really get into this. Although my little girl looks at this and sees Dollhouse, which is not good for me after I spend all that time painting this crap. But yeah, I think they're doing really well as far as the prototype is concerned. If it's this good at this point, it shows they're putting a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it. I am curious to see how they're going to handle Legion. I do understand why they handled Mayhem first for the prototype, because it is going to be easier because there's a lot less characters to deal with. Think about it. Look how many models I still had to get onto the board. I already had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another one over here. So I was almost double the Mayhem characters with just a few of mine on the board. The more that you have to deal with, and the fact that the AI, or not AI, but Legion has some of their orders that can activate 2 or 3 models at the same time, that's something they're going to have to consider when it comes to the AI for Legion. But one of the things I'm looking forward to is playing against Legion. I like playing as Mayhem, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the prototype for Legion, how that's going to work out. As good as they've done with these so far, I'm not worried about it. I'm sure that when we do get it, it will be excellent. But as far as I've heard, now this might change, but as far as I've heard, the prototype that we have now is it until they release the final version. They might end up releasing another prototype, maybe one where we can try out Legion. We'll just have to wait and see how that pans out. But honestly, at this point, I'd rather them just stay focused. Let's get it done as soon as possible, because I want the real thing in my hand so I can film the full version of everything. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. Like I said, we're going to do a full-out playthrough once I do have the final versions of everything. I'm going to paint up some more Mayhem models to join in, do a bigger mission. I really want to get that big rock-looking creature into the game. Yeah, so I paused for a sec because I realized I can't mention that and then not actually show you guys who I'm talking about. So this is one of the Legion characters as well. I forget the name of this guy, but I think I did a decent job painting him up. Got the little orb in his chest painted up for him, little splash on it. But strangely enough, I think this guy operates as an ally to Dr. Babylon, if I remember right. So just how Glory here, the little drone, operates, I think he operates the same way, or he might have his own board as well. I don't know. We'll have to see how he plays out, but I really want to find a mission that has this big dude in it as well and see what kind of damage he can bring to the table, because he looks freaking awesome. And come on, look at that. I mean, he takes up the whole damn top of the building. I mean, that's going to be awesome. All right, but you guys stay tuned for that. I don't know when it will be, when the final version comes out, but I will keep this on the back burner, ready to go. As soon as I have it in hand, I will be filming it for you guys. All right, but like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to put them down below, and I will try to help you out as much as I can. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next one.